Hey everybody, Isabelle Fox here, and let's talk today about how to tell a client no without killing the mood. It's really important to be able to enforce your own boundaries and levels of comfortability during a booking. Clients will test the boundaries with you. They will try and push you for things that you don't want to do or you don't feel comfortable doing. Yes, they know they shouldn't do this, but they're human, they're excited, and they're going to do it anyway. So let's talk today about how you can handle this professionally and in a positive way so that it doesn't end up spoiling your whole booking. Because often this doesn't need to be as big of a deal as it may seem. There are some easy ways that you can handle this and continue forward with a positive experience for both yourself and for your client, and also to keep them coming back. So let's talk about the art of the no. A few key points here. The first one is don't waste your time or your emotions getting angry with your client. Just focus instead on moving forward. Now, I talk about this a lot in reference to all sorts of different things related to escorting. You can also apply this to your life, is that there are going to be problems and issues all the time, no matter what you do. The best thing you can do for yourself is to not waste your energy getting upset or frustrated about something. Just focus on moving forward. So when you're in your booking and your client says something frustrating or asks you to do something that he knows that you don't want to do, don't bother wasting your energy getting upset. Just instead go straight to the things that we're going to talk about. Be solution oriented, be positive, and it'll be much easier for you to move forward. Everything sounds better delivered with a cheeky smile and a flirty attitude, even if you're telling a client no, or you're not doing what he wants. The benefit of being a female in this situation is that you can use this to your advantage. So be sexy, be fun, be cheeky when you say no, and it will be far better received than if you get cross or frustrated or pissed off with your client. That's only going to set him on the bad foot as well. Try to avoid actually using the word no unless you absolutely have to. Some clients will push you and you will eventually need to look him in the eye and tell him no and end the discussion right then and there. But if you use these techniques we're about to discuss, you can probably avoid ever getting to that point and keep things really positive the whole time. So I actually don't like to use the word no until I really have to put my foot down, which is very, very rare. Try to avoid that, and we will go through exactly how you can do that shortly. And lastly, always offer a fun and sexy alternative to move on to, in combination with turning the client's request down. And I'll show you exactly how to do this. So basically, we always want to offer something positive to move on to. So instead of just giving a response that's basically a no, even if you don't use that word, you want to then turn your client's attention and their mind to something else that we can do instead. So an easy example of this, for instance, is girls who don't want to offer anal sex. When your client asks, do you offer anal or can we do anal? If you offer a version of anal play instead, so that means tongues, fingers, toys, what you can say is, I generally don't offer that service because I really enjoy anal play and this is what I offer there. So I don't just leave it in the no, I don't offer that, or actually that isn't a service of mine. I then move on to turn their attention to something that they can do with me. So think of it as if you walked into a store and you said to them, I'm looking for a really great little black dress to wear on the weekend. Do you have that? If the store person just says to you, no, we don't have that, there isn't really anywhere left for you to go. Or if you do continue on, it's because you've had to push it forward. So the client is now doing the work to say, oh, okay, well, what about this? Now, in your role as a service provider, i.e. the salesperson, it's up to you to lead the client because you're the one who wants to get paid. So going back to our store and our shop owner, selling the dresses, they might say to you, we don't actually have any little black dresses right now because what we found is that this really sexy little red dress has been selling like hotcakes. Everybody loves it. They look so thin in it. They put it on. They feel like a Victoria's Secret supermodel. Why don't you try on the red dress? Now at this point, you're probably going to at least go and look at that red dress before you turn it down. So you want to do the same thing with your client. If they ask you a question and you can't satisfy that request, you want to give them an exciting alternative. And you actually want to build excitement with that alternative and then progress to showing them how you can do that together. Here are some of the most commonly asked requests from clients to which the answer should be obviously no. Now, there may be some instances that some of these things you are willing to do. That is totally up to you. But let's move forward assuming that you aren't willing to do these things, and these in general are the questions that most of us find to be really annoying. So straight up, the most obvious one is, do you offer natural sex? Or any variation of this. So just slipping it in, or only one pump, or can I rub it here? They're really all just versions, creative versions, of clients trying to have natural sex with you. It's actually against the law to do so, and I highly recommend for your own sake that you don't offer that service under any circumstances. So we're going to go ahead and talk about shortly exactly what I say when a client asks me that. Another common one is, can I just pay X, or can I have a discount of some kind? I've spoken in previous videos about scenarios where perhaps you actually would give a discount, or you would do some sort of negotiation with the client that is to your equal advantage too. However, in this instance, we're going to assume that you're not going to do that, so we'll talk about how you can turn that client down without putting him off. Can we do X service? So something you don't offer, and you've already told them that you don't offer. There are some really obvious ones here. However, you may have already communicated with a client before your booking what your levels of comfortability are around certain services. Then during the booking, the client may push you to try and do that service again. So instead of getting upset with him and saying, no, I already told you that I don't do that service, how dare you ask, we're going to offer an alternative for how we handle that situation. Another common request is, would you tell me your real name? We're going to talk about how to handle that without making the client feel upset or ruining the mood. Can we go on a proper or unpaid date? We'll talk about that as well. You should really take that one to an extent as a compliment. It means that the client really likes you, that he wants to spend time with you alone. It's not always just, oh, I want free services. Often it really is about the client feeling like you guys have a great bond and wishing that he could get to know you in the real world, which is really a testament to the quality of your service. And lastly, can we spend a little extra unpaid time together? Or can you just give me some bonus time today, or something else to that effect? Your clients might not use this exact wording, however, you get the gist. So let's go to a first example of how you might handle a request like this. So let's pretend you're in the booking, everything's going well, the client's starting to get a bit raunchy, and he now tries to suggest that you guys do natural sex. This is the most common irritating request that workers get, and it is the one that they most commonly respond to in a very negative manner that really does kill the mood of the booking. It's not necessary to do so. So how I would generally handle this is I say to them, oh, you're so cheeky. For obvious health reasons, I don't offer that. I do offer, if you offer a natural blowjob, you might say natural oral, which is something we'll have so much fun with, and I'll proceed to do that. Or you can rub it here on this other part of my body, which doesn't present some sort of health risk. Obviously, don't suggest something else that does present a health risk. So as you can see, what I've done here is, instead of telling the client off and getting upset with him, I've told him, you are so cheeky. This is kind of another way for saying that that's off limits. To tell someone that they're cheeky or naughty or that's bad behavior is a fun way of telling them that they've crossed the line. So firstly, I've stated what you've just said is crossing the line. Then I followed up with, for obvious health reasons. I've given them a reason, because sometimes if you don't give a reason, people will continue to push to ask you for a reason. So I've handled this up front already. I then go on to give a fun alternative, and I also always immediately proceed to do that if the situation is such. If you're just discussing it and the fun hasn't started, then perhaps you won't immediately go to showing them in a physical way. But if you're with your client in person, and let's say it's just the start of the booking, things haven't really gotten into it yet, and your client asks about that, I would move in to touch my client and instigate contact and distract him as a way of softening my response, but also to get them excited in a physical way for what we're about to do. So I'm always trying to handle things positively with fun alternative and then actually taking action to that alternative. So I don't just leave it lingering in that space. I will take action to move to the next part. If you're in a situation where you can take action to move to the next physical point of contact, that will be helpful because men are physical and it will be more powerful and it will distract them. However, you can't always do that if you're talking over the phone or you're speaking via text message, or if you're in a brothel, for instance, and you're doing an intro and it's not appropriate yet to be physical with the client. But I will always move as much as I can to the next most exciting phase of the conversation. This is generally how you want to handle all of these requests. And on our next page, I'm going to give you some quick tips as to how to answer all of the questions that I just brought up that are the most commonly raised. However, if they do ask again, so I say that and then they push some more, and actually often clients won't push more once you've said this. Once you've framed it this way, once you've swiftly moved on to the next point, they'll generally leave it and continue on with the fun. However, if they do ask again, I will respond more firmly this time, but I still also won't get cross or upset. I'll still keep it relatively light and fun, however, I'll be more firm. So the next thing I will say that almost always works to immediately bring this to a halt is I will say, I've already answered that question. I am sure a gentleman like you would never want to make a lady like me feel uncomfortable by asking again. Besides, we're having so much fun doing this, or we're going to have so much fun doing that, or I really love doing this with you. And if I'm with them physically, I will proceed to do that. So in this round 2 of response, I am more firm here. I'm reminding them of their place as a gentleman and of myself as a lady. So it's no longer customer paying me, i.e. the customer's always right. I'm reminding them that regardless of the financial situation, you're a man, I'm a woman, and you need to respect the fact that I'm saying no. And using this sort of terminology will enforce that. But I'm also, again, moving on to the fun and keeping it light, not getting too cross with them, not showing them clearly that I'm pissed off, even though secretly I might be, but actually you're better off just not being. So that's how I handle round 2. Now, if a client brings it up again, and I've had that happen only on such a small handful of occasions using this method, that's when I will firmly say, this is the last time I'm going to answer it, and I will move on. At that point, you've probably got a problematic client. If they're really pushing you, you might have to bring the booking to an end. However, if you use this methodology, so the first one being fun, sexy, flirty, offering an alternative. Point 2, just reminding them that you've already asked, you're a gentleman, I'm a lady. I'm going to feel uncomfortable if you ask me again, which is going to kill the mood inadvertently, that's what you're saying. Besides, we're having so much fun doing this, you'll rarely have to worry about it moving to the next stage. So try these things, see how they work out, see what it's like to take a different approach to these sorts of requests, and you'll probably be surprised about how well it's received. So let's move on now. Just some quick tips about how you can answer these questions. And like I said, you'll find that the same questions come up time and time again. So if you get to a point where you basically memorize these sorts of responses, you won't be taken by surprise. You'll have a fun, quick, witty response every time. Hopefully the clients will appreciate that and have a cheeky laugh with you, and you guys can move on to doing what you do best. So another common one is, would you tell me your real name? To which I would always say, and ruin my mystique, my real name is so boring. Getting called Isabelle makes me feel far sexier. Sometimes I'd even add something, take it to the next level to that, give them like a bit of a challenge. And if you really impress me, I'll even let you call me Belle, which is only what my favorite clients get to call me. Or something like that. So I'll give them a challenge, give them something to aim for, instead of focusing on the fact that I just told them that I'm not going to reveal my real name. Can we see each other for a real unpaid date? I promise you I am so much more fun, so much more exciting, so much more central here as Isabelle, and I wouldn't want to ruin that for you. So making it about them, making it about focusing on how it's going to be the best experience for them if you stay in this space. Can I have a discount? The only time I discount my rate is when I discount the quality of my service, which I would never do to you. I love this one because it reminds the client that your rate is based on the quality of your service. You don't want clients to be fixated on price. You want your client to be focused on the quality of service that they're paying for, and remind them that they're paying for that. They're not paying the lowest possible rate. If they want the lowest possible rate, they can go and get it, and the quality will suffer as a result. Can we do X service, whatever it is that they're asking that you won't do? I really love doing an alternative here, and I prefer it to the thing that you've just suggested. It turns me on so much more, or it's my specialty, or I just know you're going to love it. If you're with your client physically, you want to move on to actually doing that thing, or to doing something else physical that builds up to that thing. Can we spend extra time together? This is when I might actually offer that, because we've talked in the past about how you can get reviews and how offering a very small amount, say 10 to 15 minutes of bonus time, can help in that process. So this is when I might actually give them a scenario for which they can get what they want. However, it requires them doing something, because this is a give and a take. So to that, if it was appropriate, I would say, I love offering bonus complimentary time to clients of mine who write me a review. I'll send you the links later today, and we can do that next time. You might not have the time to actually do it today, and you generally don't want to offer the bonus time until you've actually gotten the review. So that's how I would word my response to that one. Here's a quick checklist to remind yourself next time you feel like you want to say no, or a situation presents itself where the no may at first seem appropriate, however you want to take a different, more uplifting, non-mood killing approach. Firstly, you want your response to be positive, flirty, and fun. Always deliver it with a smile. You want to offer an alternative to your client that will be fun and something that you know that they'll enjoy. So if they've already talked about something that they're excited to do, bring their attention back to that thing instead. You want to sound like this is in the client's best interest. So when the client asks for my name and I tell them that, oh, I actually feel way sexier when I get called this, then that's showing the client that this is going to be a better experience for them. Be confident but assertive in your answer. So the more you practice delivering these responses, the more confident you will feel. And that will be better for you. Clients won't mess around with you as much. If you seem timid or unsure of yourself, it's more likely that they will try to take advantage of you. So practice your responses. You'll get the same requests again and again and again and again. If you've worked in a brothel and you've done high volume work, you'll sometimes find that every client in a day asks you this question. So just get used to handling it as if it's just a part of the job, because in reality it is. Stay solution oriented and take action on something else fun. So breeze past a request and onto a distraction or a solution. The more physical it can be, the more sexy it can be, the easier it will be to distract your client and move them on to the next best thing. So that's it for today, guys. Just a short one, quick and practical. Give these things a try. And as always, feel free to get in touch with me.